Welcome to Esports Ed, the May edition of Bytespeed's monthly esports webinar. We want to give a big shout out to Microsoft again for sponsoring this monthly webinar series. We've got an awesome group of people to present and talk to you guys tonight about an awesome new partnership for Bytespeed and a great opportunity for high school and college esports teams moving forward for some really cool tools for managing their programs. So the topic for tonight, Bytespeed partnering with Learn to Esport, which is a company based in Sweden, and I'll let Rasmus and Clint kind of give you the background there. But tonight's presentation will be centered around their platform called Gameplan. Just some quick introductions. My name is Josh Knutson. For those of you who don't know, I am the Esports and VR Solutions Director for Bytespeed. Former college esports coach, and now just a resource here at the company to help make sure that the schools, especially that we work with, are successful building out their esports deployments. And then from Learn to Esport, we have two awesome gentlemen joining us tonight. Rasmus Sandstrom, who's the co-founder and CEO, and Clint Kennedy, who I think has the best job title in the world, Chief Evangelist for Learn to Esport. And I'll let those guys introduce themselves in a little bit more detail when we get going. But, you know, and forgive me because I love a good dad joke, but the game plan for tonight is to talk about game plan. So
well played, Josh.
All right, we're here to talk about how the Learn to Esport resource will help you build and manage an esports program. They've got a ton of great information. And you know, I talk enough in these webinars, so you're probably sick and tired of hearing my voice. So I'm going to pass it along to Rasmus and Clint. Please feel free to drive, screen share, whatever you guys need to do. But thanks so much for joining us and welcome to Esports Ed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you a lot. Yeah, my name is Rasmus. As mentioned, I'm the co-founder CEO. Been in the esport industry for about 19 years now, so a long time before it even was an industry. Been doing everything from running grassroots organizations, tournament organizations, to some of the largest organizations in the world when it comes to esport, like H2K, for example. And I played a lot myself during the years, but I also played a lot of ice hockey. I played professional until I was 25. So I kind of tried to mix the best parts from the traditional sports world with the best part from the esport world, and try to create a concept that works in educating young kids how they can utilize the skills they learn in esports. And that's basically our vision and our goal. And yeah, that's the short story about me.
I'll dive in here. I'll dive in here quickly. Hello, everybody. Clint Kennedy. I appreciate Josh having me back to the show. It was about a year ago, Josh, that you and I did one. So Clint Kennedy, I'm a former teacher, chief technology officer, and public school administrator. I really got my start in this about 6 years ago, when along with 12 high school interns, started the first state-sanctioned high school esports league in the state of Connecticut. I was the director of director of education for Play Versus for almost 2 years. I'm now the chief evangelist at Learn to Esport, working with Rasmus and the team. I'm also a board member at NASIF, and I appreciate Rasmus taking me on and giving me a job. I had been on a search for a tool that could help me as a former coach, and all the conversations I was having with so many programs around the country, there seemed to me a missing piece. There were interesting curriculum resources. There was a bunch of competition opportunities. There's some very grassroots casting and streaming opportunities. And people started asking me all the time. Well, first question was, what titles do you guys support? And this is my favorite title. But two, young people were asking, how do I get a foothold in the industry? How do I get started with esports? I love it. I may be pro, maybe not someday, who knows, but this is my calling. This is my community. I want to get started. So what we're going to talk about tonight, Game Plan, fits a hole that I specifically had a need to support the learning opportunities, the playing opportunities, and the community building opportunities that I saw are all as equally important in this kind of ecosystem, in this journey that we're all taking together. And that's why I'm here. I'm excited about the product, how it fits in the space, and I'm hoping everybody can use it to their advantage and to provide more opportunities for kids.
Yeah, and that was a big reason why I know Bytespeed is super excited about this partnership moving forward, is, in trying to be a resource and making sure that, that especially the high schools that are starting esports programs, and even the colleges, a lot of the times those, individuals that get tapped to run those programs, have little to no knowledge or are really overwhelmed with just the abundance of stuff that gets thrown at them. And it can be, from firsthand experience, it can be a little overwhelming. So having an awesome tool like Gameplan that can help you manage so many different facets of your program, from scheduling to the curriculum side of things to, interfacing with your peers from other schools and kind of everything in between. It's just a great tool to be able to kind of help manage all of the different things that go into running a successful esports program. So, at Bytespeed, we're excited to be able to bring this product that you guys already have, being successful overseas in Europe, bring that to the US and be able to be the intermediary and really help out the schools that are in the US be able to get a hold of this tool. I think just from the brief demos and things that we've gotten to see, there's a ton of value here, and I'm excited to really be able to showcase this off to everybody that's watching live or those of you who are at home watching the YouTube video afterwards. It's an amazing product that we definitely are excited about. And Rasmus, Clint, feel free to take it away and tell us more about what Gameplan actually is, because I know there's a ton of different components to it.
Yeah, for sure. And as you mentioned, the coaches of the esports programs doesn't have the easiest job. There's a lot of great coaches, a lot of great teachers out there, but the task they are given is kind of impossible. It's basically impossible finding a coach that knows 7-8 titles on a really high level, and that's also good at teaching them. And I'm comparing it to like a traditional sports program. A school would never hire a football coach to coach the ice hockey, the basketball, and the track and fields team at the same time. And that's basically what happens in the esports business right now when it comes to schools. And that's where we really try to help the coaches and the schools being able to manage and structure an esports program and provide the kids with high quality content, functionalities, and everything that they need to run their esports program, and to do it in a scalable way so that we can support these coaches and teachers with courses and material and everything they need to just be able to help these kids develop both as players but also as persons without being an expert in all of these titles, because you can't be the best at 7 to 10 titles. That's just impossible. So I think I can start a screen share and go through the platform. Let's see. I don't seem to have any option.
I can make you a co-host here, and that will hopefully give you access. Let's do this. And then I'll give your other one a co-host as well.
No, I can. Perfect.
There you go.
And if you all can see my screen now, we're on the Gameplan platform. I'm on an admin account right now, so I see a lot of different options here in the left side menu. I can also swap to the student view. And basically, this is a dashboard. This is the first thing that you see when you log in. But if it's the first time you log into the platform, you will see an onboarding process where you choose the game title that you are playing and fill in some information. But when you are on the site and have chosen this, you will be able to see like your plan that you have for the day. And this is based on training programs. And training programs is almost like courses. And the training programs are used to structure the learning for the kids. And a training program consists of lessons lessons, of different drills, different events that basically are created by industry professionals, like professional coaches and analysts and educated teachers. And some of the courses are game specific, where you basically learn different parts of how to improve as a player. But then we also have training programs that touch more on the communication side, the leadership side, how to give and receive feedback, the importance of sleep and eating well, and just all these parts that kind of need to fit together if you're going to be a pro esport player, or if you want to work in the esport industry, because we're not only helping the kids that want to become professional esport players, we're also helping people who just want to learn with the help of esport. And here you can see today's plan. I'm connected to 2 training programs, one in Fortnite and one about esport and motivation. And if I press one of these, like this is a drill that I pressed now. So when you come into this, you can see that, okay, this is the part of the program tunneling. You get a video that shows the kid, this is the drill you're going to do. They get an explanation. They get some more information about, they can copy for example, the Fortnite code map. And they also get some tips about how to perform the drill and what to think about. And then they can start the drill. And then when they are finished with everything, they complete it. And in some drills, we ask the students to upload their own kind of a screenshot or answer some questions so that the coach or the teacher can see that the kid has actually done the drill. And in some parts, it's automated through API connections that I will show you later. But if we go back to the dashboard, you can also see a weekly schedule. Like, for example, today, I would have a team event that will be a boot camp. I have a drill to reflect on my motivation. I have a chapter that's called How to Develop an Elite Motivation, or the program is that. Here we have videos created by a partner of us, eAthlete Labs. Basically, we just have a lot of content that we have created ourselves or that partners of us have created. We are always trying to find the best content out there and try to get that on our platform. And yeah, basically this is a good way to structure the esport training programs, or the program for everyone. And I would say that one of the positive things about this is that you can tailor the programs towards your students at the skill level they are at, because that's also a thing that's been a big problem for a lot of schools in Europe and a lot of schools in the US, is that there's some players that join the programs that are at a certain rank. It could be like an average rank. And then they also have these players that are almost professional. And they shouldn't practice the same thing all the time. So what we do is we try to tailor these training programs for different skill levels, so everyone gets as much quality as possible out of it. And you can also see different lessons that I've started. But basically it's game-specific lessons in different titles, esport, industry-specific lessons, and also the parts that I mentioned with health and the mental aspect as well.
If I can set some context, Rasmus, if you don't mind, apologies. So we're really, as we're working
yes.
with flagship schools and others that are coming in, some are entering into specifically the extracurricular activities space, and we have training programs. Gameplan can be used to help build skills within individual players in those extracurricular activities and games, as well as from a team perspective, so specific team goals and so forth. But then there are also courses, because a lot of schools are taking on esports as an academic opportunity for students during the day, which they'll link then to the extracurricular programs afterwards. So again, for me as a coach and also an educator, I was looking for ways that I could both engage students if a school and curriculum committees are ready during the school day, but then also specifically target those players who want to have individual improvement and improve as a team after school as part of a competitive or intramural league. It's what I like the interplay of this so much. We can handle both of those, and it's a single source of truth for each student in their entire journey, both academic and extracurricular, as well as a teacher, a coach, and so forth has access to this to be able to track and see what individuals or teams are doing. So just to set some context for this.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, as you can see here on the left side, you can see 2 different training programs. This is because we are transitioning into a new version of the training program. And since I'm on an admin account, we can see both. But basically, the students or the teacher will be able to have different topics here. Right now, we have integrated Fortnite and Rocket League. We also have League of Legends. We're adding Valorant, Minecraft. And you can also see kind of the difficulty level of the courses. Here we can see intermediate and expert courses. And if you go into a program, you can see how it's based, like the chapters, the drills, the matches, everything you need. And it's just easy to start a program for a student. So it's just kind of an easy way for the coaches to be able to get an overview of what the students are actually doing and what they are learning. And one part that we have worked a lot on is the statistics part, where we have integrated with Riot's API. We have the League of Legends API here. We also got the Valorant API coming really soon. And this is a place where the students can look at their statistics and learn how to analyze it to see how they can perform better and what they need to practice on. And they can just check different things, like they can sort by role, they can sort by goal per minute, damage, like all these kind of stats that are really important. And then they can also see their matches. And this is one of the most powerful tools. It's not a complex tool at all, but it's really powerful. And basically you can just see the general stats from the match, how you performed, item builds. Here you can see how you perform compared to other players at the same rank as you. So here we can see that the player has a really high score in vision. The KDA is below average and the income is below average as well. So when you see these parts, we learn that the kids to try to make assumptions based on this data and then try to adapt the training based on that. And this tool here is one of the most powerful ones. And as I mentioned, it's not complex at all, but what we really try to do is help the kids create habits of just taking a couple of minutes after each game to analyze, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What can I do better in the next game? And just create the habit where they do this after every game. And we've seen like a really big improvement for the players that actually do this after every game, because they get this kind of mindset of only thinking about how they themselves can improve and not blaming their teammates or thinking that they had bad luck or something like that. Just focus on your own gameplay. And yeah, these statistical tools are a good way for the students themselves to take the next step in their development, but also for the coach to help them. And then we also have a tool called game reviews, and that's a tool where the students can upload their own gameplay, or they can also review professional players' games or specific situations in the match. So here we can see a video of a player. We can see a timeline down here. And if we see something in the game that we would like to change, or something we want to highlight, we can just pause the video, we can add feedback. And here we can draw on the video to highlight some parts, and we can also add the feedback. And this is a great tool for the students to review their own games, but also to review other games or get feedback from more experienced players and coaches. So this tool has been useful for a lot of different titles.
And an activity that we often see, or in a lot of the curriculum pieces that are being built, is both individual film reviews as well as team reviews, breakdown of matches and so forth, as part of a cycle of goal setting, compete, assess, and then have that feedback cycle of what we can do better based on our goals and so forth. So having a homework assignment that is a film review where they're actually looking for specific pieces based on their goals becomes a way to build and grow skills collaboratively. And it's a little easier to talk a student into getting their homework done than some traditional ways.
Yep, and as Clint mentioned, we have team functionality on the site as well. And basically the team has their own calendar as well. The students have their personal calendar for the training programs that they have, but then they also have the calendar for the team they're connected to. And here we can see that the team have a practice, they have a boot camp, and they have a qualifier. And in the team, there's also different roles, like a coach or analyst or general manager. And these roles have different permissions, so they can, basically do different things on the platform. And as Clint mentioned, there's also the possibility of doing game reviews as a team. And I think this is a really great tool for the teams that participate in leagues. So we try to create this kind of loop where you kind of, after a game, you do an analysis as a team. You try to see what went wrong, what you did good, and also try to prepare for the next week to create your game plan. And just being able to try to do better each week in the league and try to improve. And here we can see at the bottom that there's different timestamp by different persons. So everyone in the team can add their own feedback, and they can also start a discussion to just be able to do it together. And the good thing about this, and the benefits you get from doing it on our platform instead of just doing it in game, or is that you can actually save the feedback and you come back to it at a later time. And that's really something that's been powerful for the teams playing in these leagues, that they can go back to games and say, okay, what did we do wrong at this part of the game? Why are we always losing late game, for example? Let's go back and check these game reviews. And they can also connect the coaches to this, of course. So yeah, the platform is basically a tool to help the coaches and teachers structure the whole Esport program, to have everything in one place, to have the courses, to have the content, to have the drills, the tools, just to be able to help the kids develop. And I'm in the teachers, what would say, the admin mode or teacher mode. And here you can see more things, like you can add staff to different parts and add permissions and just like give different roles to different people, so they can create their own courses, or they can basically just use the platform in a more admin type of way.
So that's maybe something that we can touch on a little bit too here, Rasmus, is, you mentioned these drills or these videos that are being produced and uploaded and things like that. From your guys' side of it, who are you getting the majority of these drills from? What does the process look like for a coach who wants to upload their own drills? Can you touch on that a little bit and talk a little bit more about how kind of like the nitty gritty of the platform works?
Yeah, for sure. The drills ourselves, we personal players or coaches and analysts that basically helps to create these drills and populate the training programs with them. For example, we have a guy called Johan who played in the Overwatch League and also played for the Swedish national team and coached the national team in the World Cup. And his kind of main role is to create these drills. And if it's a game that he's not an expert in, he brings in people to help. And the coaches themselves can create their own drills. They can just, if they're on an admin account, they can go in, they can see other drills, and they can create their own training programs with them. But to create a drill is really easy. You can just write in the title, description, upload a cover image. You can choose who should have permission to use it. Like, there's basically a step-by-step tool to create these drills. You can also assign training points to the drills. So when a student finishes the drill, they will get this amount of training points.
One of the things that I've found, sorry, Rasmus, one of the things that I've found too is there are, especially at the high school level, certainly across the US, there are some wonderfully well-intentioned adults that are taking on the responsibility as coach, or I would argue general manager, for these programs, who want to support students, who want to support a program, but as Rasmus mentioned before, may not have deep game knowledge across a series of titles, may not have game knowledge really at all, except maybe a superficial. And we know in schools, we need an adult of record to do that. So by us seeding the field with specific drills tied to components of a game, and I would usually rely on the captain of my teams to do that, for us to debrief and understand what a practice should include next week based on how we performed. But I love the fact that not only can you create your own if you have the knowledge, but you can actually build these out with your students who are helping to not only ask the questions of what we did right and what we did wrong, then translate that to what we need to work on, and the ability to either find or build drills to help scale that over the course of a season or a week's time or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also the possibility to create your own training programs in an easy way as a coach or a teacher. And you can also like edit the training programs that we have created or other coaches have created. And basically you can just drag and drop different parts out on the training programs. So here you can see, like, on Monday they have a curiosity drill, the elite mindset, process-oriented goals. But basically you can create these kind of training programs in a really easy way. And yeah, it's I mean, some coaches have their own way of teaching things. So we don't want to like block them from doing their own thing. So they can create their own lessons, they can create their own training programs and just edit everything as they want to. But we are also there as a support for them to help them just create what the school wants and what the kids need. And basically we have 3 parts of the platform. We call them learn, play, and connect. And the parts that I've been going through mostly now is the learn parts of the platform. And in the play part, we have the teams as I showed, but we also have integration to tournament providers. And this is something that we're working on now based on feedback from the schools, what league and tournaments provider they want. So here we can see, for example, upcoming tournaments on the Challenger mode platform, so that you can easily join them from our platform. And then it gets populated to their calendar. And we also have the connect part, the one that we're building out the most right now. And we are creating curriculum together with Twitch there that Clint can talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, so briefly before I dive into, I think one of the key pieces of play, and everyone's kind of dealing with this right now, there are many, many tournament competitive platforms, league offerings, and so forth. And a lot of programs are frustrated with who to choose or where to go and so forth. We've built this so that they can kind of take back kind of the locus of control. So Gameplan is agnostic. If you want to play with a variety of leagues or conferences or tournaments, that's what we want to manage. We want to be able to provide choice. You could be playing different titles in different leagues, and that's okay. That's actually, I would say, should be encouraged to find the best of what fits what you want to accomplish in your school, your university's goals. I think that's a really important piece, because a lot of the competitions to date you kind of hand over control for the full program and hope that it's a good experience. The games that you want to play are offered. It's on a schedule you like, and hopefully they take good care with your student data that adheres to state and other government rules. This is a way to bring that back internally to do that. So I wanted to make that point because I think from the play perspective, super important to be thinking about those things, which titles, what your schedule is, and who's doing what to your data. So as far as the connect piece goes, we often say learn, play, connect. And often I almost want to reverse that because as I was a coach and working with young people, I had 50 students consistently showing up for practices, for scrimmages, for tournaments and things like that. But not all of them wanted to be that varsity player competing for a state title or trying to get a varsity letter. A lot of them wanted to be scrim partners. They loved the game and wanted to be part of the community. They wanted to organize a tournament. They wanted to build a logo. They wanted to do some social media marketing aspects and so forth. So really what we're trying to do with Connect as a first step is working with Twitch as a partner, take what they've really done in Twitch student at the college level and bring that down to the high school and even middle school level, appropriately adhering to rules and ages and so forth. But so that schools can not only compete, but they can actually produce both recorded and live footage so that they can interact with their community. They can start playing using other roles within a team, and they can then connect to other schools, other players, the public at large, parents, board of ed members, principals, teachers, things of that nature. So it's not just playing, but we're also connecting with that community. And we're starting to dive into some of these specific kind of career and technology education roles and providing opportunities for students to learn about it and participate and have something to show off while they're building that community. So I'm excited about it because I think at scale, if we really want to engage as many students that are as interested, I don't want them to simply see varsity competition or nothing. I want them to continue to think about that full ecosystem so they do have a foothold as they go into college or the amateur scene or what have you, and can add value to that in whatever way they choose to participate.
Awesome. I think the other exciting thing, especially for, schools that will want to use this platform, is that it's a living platform. You're going to be adding in more things like that Twitch integration and some of the outside of like, hey, your 5 starters will see value out of this platform. You're going to add new games and other things like that. And the content for drills and such is going to continue to be added and updated and changed. And I wonder can you talk just a little bit about maybe the roadmap for the next year or so that, if a school is wondering this summer, if Gameplan is something that they want to sign up for or get involved with, what they can expect to see over the course of a year or kind of in the near future?
You're on mute, Rasmus.
Oh, sorry. Building out the Connect part is something we're going to focus a lot on. Being able to create this scrim finder and helping teams add that to their the preparation of the leagues and doing that in different levels as well. So yeah, the scrim finder is one big thing. We're also building out the team functionality more to be able to have a really clear process on how to prepare for league games. So it's like a checklist that you do each week to be able to prepare for that. We're also integrating with a tool where you can practice basically all the FPS games, practice aiming, practice reaction time, and all of these things, and connect that directly to our platform. So we can help the students train their mechanical skills in a really effective way and also connect that to the courses. So that's also parts that are on the roadmap. And yeah, we are adding more functionality every week basically to the platform. And we're also working on more partnerships when it comes to content. So I would say that what people should expect in the coming year is more integration to tournament and league providers. That's also a big thing. So we can get data from those tournaments and leagues and populate our calendars, but also show how the kids perform and connect that to different training programs so that they get the right training programs connected to them. And this part is also something that we are building out. And this is where you can create or edit your own lessons, basically. And it's really easy. We have different elements here on the left side, like text and media. You can just add that. If you want to add videos, you can add YouTube videos, images. You can choose a video that's already uploaded to the platform. If you want to rearrange the thing, it's just drag and drop. You change instantly. You can add quizzes to the pages to make sure that the students have understood that he or she have on. And yeah, basically it's really easy to just create your own lessons and your own courses and everything. That's what we're also working on a lot. The tools and features for the coaches to be able to keep track of what the students are doing. We already have a lot of functionality for that, but we're still gathering feedback from all of the customers and all of our partners to be able to make it even smoother. And I would say that, yeah, I'm not sure if I answered the question.
I think that's a really good kind of a high level view of, you know, we see the demo today, but then also thinking ahead of like, okay, if I sign up this summer, this is what I can expect to have, you know, come August or September when seasons start to get rolling and practices are starting. And not only just being able to see the tools that you might be able to use for a summer camp this summer here in the next few months. So I think it's a great look at so many different tools kind of finally coming under one roof. And I think that was one of the biggest, you know, things that excited me personally of, you know, a lot of college teams or a lot of high school teams are running off of Discord servers and maybe Google Docs and have stuff on whiteboards and just kind of an amalgamation of so many different tools, but getting it all in one place, making it super user-friendly, and then also having it the ability for different levels to be able to find value in the product. You know, if I'm a brand new coach who's never done esports before, I can see a ton of value right off the bat. And then if I'm, you know, Illinois Wesleyan University with a super top tier college program, I can see this and be like, okay, I can build out a practice schedule, you know, from my own content or building something that, you know, taking the things that we're already doing with our team, pulling it into one platform, having the functionality and you know, the control from the coach's side, but also have it super user-friendly from the student perspective and really just pull things together. I think there's a ton of amazing tools here for coaches, but also for students. And it's in my mind solving a couple of key issues that we've seen over, you know, the last couple of years with this giant growth of esports. And, you know, the knowledge gap is all over the place. And this is really helping all levels of coaches and players be able to improve and really kind of learn how to do esports if they don't have that background.
Josh, if I may, one other piece that I think is it doesn't necessarily fit for those schools it's a single school that's getting started and so forth, but we have more and more partner schools coming in that are either a high school that are turning on a middle school or have a series of schools within a district or a county, what have you. And what I love about this is it's a tree structure. So you can have programming that gets pushed out across all of those schools, but then you also have the ability to tailor it to a specific school if they have different abilities or competencies and so forth. It can even be extended. We're having this conversation to the state level, where a state organization can then adopt Gameplan and have schools underneath that. And then that programming can be pushed out and even be pushed peer-to-peer. So if you have a great coach in school X and they're comfortable sharing those training programs, those lessons that they've built and so forth, it's a great way to distribute that across, you know, more than one individual school. So I'm really excited about how to harness the community, because we have some wonderful talent that we're working with, but there's also a tremendous amount of talent out there. So the ability to curate that and surface that where appropriate as part of a learning model, I think is really, really important for us as we service the community, but also something for people who are adopting this to think about where it can scale over time and they can leverage that value that they're putting into it.
Sure. Can you, Clint, touch a little bit on how the membership works? You know, who is really like, if a school is interested in Gameplan, what does the process look like? You know, to get them a license set up and add their students in. You talk a little bit about that process.
Sure. So they should first and foremost reach out to their friendly salesperson at Bytespeed. That's obviously step number one. To launch the process. But once that's engaged, we then take over and set up the initial instance for the school. A point of contact or administrator gets their initial credentials, username, password, and so forth. And as Rasmus mentioned, there's an onboarding where there's a series of questions, and we're going to continue to build that out so that when they first go in, it's not a static, generic system. It's tailored for them. Everything from what titles they're competing in, and they can always add or modify in the future, but logos and names and things like that. So we want them to arrive in Gameplan that's a home for them that looks and feels like their experience, or at least where they're at currently. We do not integrate specifically with a student information system or a learning management system now. We have certainly the ability to expose an API and do some connectivity and so forth. But as we, on the future roadmap too, as we begin to scale, that is something that we will do. Currently now, an administrator has the ability to add staff. We're seeing more and more programs have a general manager, and then coaches or assistant coaches that may be clearly adept at a specific title that they're helping manage that team. So that process can be set up. And then there's the loading of the students. And Rasmus can touch on specifically the options for bringing students on one at a time or in bulk.
Yeah, exactly. You can, as an admin, invite students by just typing in their email right here. But we're also adding the functionality to be able to just load in a CSV file with all the emails of the students that you want to invite. And there's also the option based on how the school want to handle the user data. So we don't have to save anything when it comes to name or social security number or anything like that. So the school could also use dummy emails just to set up the students. So that's also something that we've been working on to create. And we also just integrated a service that if there are kids under a certain age, they have to get their parents' consent to use the platform. So then their parents gets a mail automatically. And when they have accepted it, the students get access to the platform. Yeah, basically we first there's the onboarding process that Clint mentioned. But then we also always help the schools if they need any extra just support in the beginning, when it comes to maybe just helping them create their first training program or helping them assign the first training program to the students. The system is really easy to use, but sometimes it could also be nice to just have someone there to basically walk you through it the first time. So that's definitely something that we can help with.
What other resources do you guys have or are planning to build out in the forms of support if people have questions or want like a how-to tutorials or things like that? Obviously, would love to connect them directly with the staff member from Learn to Esport, but is there other things that the platform has built into it that will help in the future?
Yeah, so basically the first thing a coach or a teacher will get when they log into the platform and done the onboarding is a course on the platform on how to use the platform. So that's something that is already created. So you get to learn the platform, get to know the functionalities and how to use them and so on. And then there's always the option to reach out to us if you need any extra help.
Awesome.
And there will also be an FAQ on the website with frequently asked questions. But our goal is build the platform so we don't have to get a lot of questions. But
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And an active Discord community, of course, trying to meet people where they're at to have just in time questions answered or how-tos or what have you.
Wonderful. Well, that's a great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rasmus.
No, yeah, I just want to say that we have the Discord integration already on the website, so it's easy for the players to connect or the students to connect to each other and find others to play with or just talk to, and also for the teachers and the coaches to connect to each other to share experience or just to talk to us, as Clint mentioned, to get just talk to us through Discord.
Sure, great. I think this has been an awesome kind of high level look at it. I would encourage anybody who's wondering more about the functionalities or the different, nitty gritty kind of stuff specific to your school and specific to your program. We'd love to, get that feedback. We'd love to set up a personalized demo with you potentially to go through and maybe, talk a little bit more about the different aspects of game plan. If you have those questions, I haven't seen anything roll through the Q&A tonight. So one thing that I do want to do is throw our contact information up on the screen. So Rasmus, if you're done screen sharing, I'm going to, Clint just beat me to it, put his info in the chat, which is great for those here. I'm just going to share our screen here and just pull our contact info up. Just if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us, from the Bytespeed side of things. We're super excited to be able to help facilitate procurement of the actual license for Gameplan and help our US customers be able to purchase the platform and be able to get their licenses set up. So I can be your main contact here at Bytespeed, and then definitely Rasmus and Clint are fantastic resources in their own right. They've got an amazing team that we've gotten to know over the last couple of months here, getting ready for this launch. Individual schools that are interested in getting going right away, please let us know. There will be a freebie out there for a couple of schools that attended and watched tonight. So we'll definitely, we're excited to get a couple of schools up and running right away. And then please, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of the three of us. We'll have a dedicated landing page on the Bytespeed website with more information, and that should launch very, very soon. And we hope that, this is kind of a good first look at Gameplan. And I just really appreciate Rasmus and Clint for taking the time to join us here tonight and kind of share this passion project that I still think, after looking at it so many times, that this is an amazing product. It's an amazing resource more than anything. And I think as a former coach and somebody who ran a program and had to deal with managing all of these different things, I wish I had this, 5 years ago when I started coaching. It would have been an amazing tool, and I'm excited for, the schools that are starting esports or already have programs to be able to get their hands on this and really be able to utilize it to the fullest. So, Rasmus, Clint, anything to add before we end here?
Just that the next video that we will post will be more focused on the kind of the admin tools and the tools that shows the development of the students to see what they have done on the platform, because we didn't really have time to go through all of that today. But it will be in a more structured way in a video where our COO, Jonathan, who does a much better job than me in presenting, will go through some more details in the platform, but we will be able to post that really soon.
Awesome.
I only want to add, Josh, be careful what you wish for, because we're desperately in need of good coaches out there. So you have no excuses now. You have a tool, you have a community. So we may be recruiting you as a coach in the near future. Careful.
Sign me up. Well, one final thing. Thanks again to Microsoft for sponsoring Esports Ed. We couldn't have done so many of the different things that Bytespeed has done this year without their help, and we really appreciate their support. Clint, Rasmus, thanks again. Rasmus, especially the time zone difference. We appreciate you staying up late to join us here tonight. And for everybody who are watching on YouTube, please feel free to reach out. Again, contact information is on the screen, or you can find more info at bytespeed.com. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you next month for the next installment of Esports Ed.